All right, we are on. It is Monday, March 18th at 7:30, and I call the meeting of the Brainerd City Council to order. Tony, can you call the roll?
Stingline.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Chezak.
Here.
O'Day.
Here.
Stunek.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Bevins.
Here.
Bedell.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. All right, item number 4 is an approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Stengline. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. We have an agenda. Item 5 is the consent calendar. All matters listed are considered routine by the council, will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the council votes on the motion to be adopted by roll call. Is there a move to adopt the consent calendar?
So move.
Motion by Stunek. Is
Second.
there a second by Stengline? Any discussion? Hearing none, Tony, please call the roll.
Stingline.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Chezak.
Yes.
O'Day.
Yes.
Stunek.
Yep.
Terry. Bevins.
Yes. The consent calendar is adopted. Item 6 is council committee reports. Item 6A is Safety and Public Works Committee Chairman Mike O'Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just had 5 items tonight, first of which was authorization of bidding for the improvement 24-01 2024 chip sealing. Motion coming out of committee was to authorize for bid improvement 24-01 2024 chip sealing project, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Chesak. Any discussion? Mr. Chair.
We budget 150,000. We're estimating this is going to be under 150,000. Streets are listed on the agenda request right there. If anybody has any other questions, they can ask Mr. Dean.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Number 2, we had a approval of the construction cost share agreement with Crow Wing County for 2024 pavement markings. And staff, or motion coming out of committee was to approve the construction cost share agreement with Crow Wing County for 2024 pavement markings, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Chesak. Any discussion? Mr. Chair?
Explain, this is something the county does, striping all the roads in town. They're already going to do it. We cost share, it saves us a few bucks.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you. Number 3, we had approving additional funds for the 2022 capital transit bus purchase. Motion coming out of committee was to approve the increasing of local share of the 2022 transit bus purchase to $14,341.70. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Stingline. Any discussion? Mr. Chair?
So these buses are obviously way behind. We don't expect to get this one until next year. But as buses get further and further behind, the prices just continue to go up. And the price has gone from, was it 117, Jesse? To 143,000. Our cost share with state and federal government is 10% locally. 46% of that is currently ours. That will be eventually going up.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the 2022 capital transit bus purchase, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you. The next item is a discussion of the construction year for improvement 24-05 South Brainerd Alley resurfacing project. And the motion coming out of committee was to go forward with BPU Commission's recommendation to hold off on this project until 2025. I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Chesak. Any discussion? Mr. Chair?
As you remember, last week we had a special meeting with the BPU Commission, just with SPW. You guys didn't have as much information, so we held off for a couple weeks on this one. There was really no new information tonight that I'm aware of. No one came to speak on the subject either. But that was the general consensus last time, was to hold off. but it was up to SPW if you guys saw anything or wanted to discuss.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would contend that all of the information presented is new information to the Safety and Public Works Committee, but it all looks good, and I'll support the motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you. Last item was just direction on active code enforcement case. This is for 1017 10th Avenue Northeast. This is just another junk and debris case. Staff is recommending that we obtain administrative search warrant and abate the junk and debris at 1017 10th Avenue Northeast, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by O'Day, a second by Stangline. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else?
End of report.
Thank you. Item 6, Council Committee Reports B, Personnel and Finance Chairman Gabe Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. It appears we're down to 4 items on the agenda tonight. We had 5 on the original agenda, but 1 got pulled. So we'll start with 1, which is the use of public safety aid for wellness. The motion is to approval of police and fire mental health wellness program with a $60,000 allocation from the public safety aid package to fund the program, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Stunek. Chairman Johnson.
So we got a Sourcewell grant to fund the first 2 years of the program. It seems promising. The police and fire like what's happening. So we want to try and do this for 5 years. So this $60,000 will fund years 3, 4, and 5 of the program.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Mr. Chesak.
I just had a question about the public safety aid package. When we were discussing our budget and how we were going to allocate that money, didn't we, I know, we used a portion of that in our budget to offset the, I think the police department budget. And then we were going to then go down in percentage on that amount we had remaining for the next couple of years. Would I be incorrect in how I stated that, or am I missing something?
Jeff, that's how I remember it, Jeff.
And
That-
so, okay, then is that going to then affect what we had planned on doing with that money based on this, or is it still the same thing because it's for police and fire?
Same thing, and it still works, Jeff, because the memo says currently of the $642,357 we received, $343,857 remains unallocated. So we would use that $60,000 from the unallocated funds, and we would still have $283,000 and change unallocated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up is to approve an MOA, the new ESST law, and the motion is to approve the attached ESST MOA with Law Enforcement Labor Services, Inc., Local 65, representing our police officers.
We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Terry. Any discussion?
This is the state law that we have to do, and we're slowly getting it through all the
Regarding
ordinance.
safe and sick time. Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the approval of the memorandum, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please proceed.
All right, the next up is to consider the work group recommendations on the Public Utility Director. It has 2 motions, the first of which is I move to hire executive search consultant, retain GMP consultants for our Public Utilities Director search, and ask the Public Utilities Commission to fund it for us. And I so move.
Motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Terry. Any discussion?
Question.
Mr. O'Day?
Last time we used this group, we did apply for a grant, I believe. It was $10,000.
That's correct. Our HR director, can
Still
you
available?
fill us in?
It's based on Sourcewell's fiscal year, so that started on July 1st. So we would be having the search done before then. I could ask them to see if they would fund it, since the search will go past that date, but that would be up to Sourcewell.
Yeah, I recommend that.
Yeah.
At least ask.
Okay, any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chesak?
With this process we're in, I struggle with this because I don't know if you had a chance to read what I sent, but I see it says on approval of the Public Utilities Commission, who meets on the 26th, and that, to come out of their funds for this. If I'm not mistaken, I thought the Sourcewell grant was for one time. I mean, if it's not, that's great. So how do we deal with this if the commission at their meeting says they won't fund it? We have funds available to take it out of our budget then, I assume, if they don't agree?
Gabe, you know the answer.
The answer is maybe. I mean, we still have quite a bit in this council special projects fund. Maybe not the full $20,000, maybe closer to 15 left there. So we would need to find another 5 out of the general fund. But I think we can do it if the Public Utilities Commission doesn't want to participate.
Okay, and then in this motion, does that cover the, also hiring the interim public utilities director as was stated in the agenda
That
request?
was not part of this motion.
Okay, so is this only for the consultant then, this motion? Is there anything included?
Correct, just hiring a search consultant to find a public utilities director.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Mr. Stunek?
If the commission is going to meet down the road and make a final decision, I don't like the idea that we're hoping and thinking that we're gonna do this. Is there any harm in waiting until they make their decision? Or what?
Well, I can give you my opinion, and that's.
Well, I'm just questioning because we're thinking about this and hoping and maybe not, and maybe,
I think it's
but
good to give a council direction right as soon as possible to the commission. And Chris has also got some answer to that.
So just to remind you, Commissioners Madden and O'Day were part of our work group, and they are the ones that asked us to expedite this and continue as fast as we could. So that is why this recommendation is to approve the consultant now, subject to the BPU Commission funding it at their next meeting.
That ends your question, Chief?
I'm fine.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none on the motion to recommend GMP consultants. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign.
Aye.
That motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's a second item with this, and the work group has recommended and will move to designate Patrick Wassow as our interim Public Utilities Director per the attached Public Utilities Director Employment Agreement, and I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Terry. Chairman Johnson.
Cliff's notes, he's willing to do it for 4 to 6 months, up to 30 hours a week, $100 an hour. Gets his para and ESST.
Save and sick time. What's the start
Gets
date
a
on
safe
this,
time.
Chairman, Mr. Chair?
I think 15th of May, roughly,
April.
of April. Oh, I
Okay,
was off.
you were close.
Yeah.
President Bevins?
Mr. Chesak?
This is, what I'm gonna say is nothing personal against Mr. Wasso. I understand it was negotiated because we had him for interim administrator, which is on the hierarchy, a higher position than the public utilities director. You would apply that, I guess, across the board for being interim, either one or both. And it was $60 an hour, and then when this was offered, it's $100, and I understand it's negotiated based on another local city having an interim city administrator at, could somebody tell me what that price was again? Because I understand it's 95?
Chris? Chris is nodding her head.
Well, I talked to a city council member in Cross Lake, they said it's $90. I think if we're gonna be negotiating, we should be equal, and the two positions, I guess, are we basing it on the size of the city now, which would allow Mr. Wusso a higher pay than the other city that has the interim administrator at 90, and we're going with 100? I know it's $10 an hour, it's not a huge amount of money, but we should have some, I guess, principles here when it comes to how we spend the taxpayers' money. I just would ask that we maybe renegotiate. We could do that between now and our next meeting, April 1st. Is that something we perhaps want to consider based on,
Not if this motion passes.
I understand that.
All right.
That's why I would ask that maybe we vote down this motion, and that's my request here for people voting.
Thank you, Mr. Chesak. Any further discussion? Chief Stunek?
Nothing personal again, just like Jeff and stuff said. I'm gonna vote no, just out of principle to the fact that I think we've got internal people that could fill the spot until we hire somebody or whatever. We've done that with the police departments, we've done that with the fire departments, we've done that with other departments in the past, and that's my passion, so I'm just gonna vote no.
Sure. Thank you. And, Chairman O'Day?
Maybe, I don't know who can answer some of those questions that were brought up, but just a quick rundown of how we got to these terms. Was it just,
I believe our HR Director Schubert can probably answer those. Chris?
When I contacted Mr. Wusso, these were the terms that he asked for. I will remind the council that this is still a cost savings, even paying him at this hourly rate, since he is not asking for any benefits. It's at least a $3,500 a month savings by utilizing him in this interim role versus what we're paying Mr. Wicklund with his health insurance benefits and things.
That answer your question, Mike?
I think so.
Okay. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Okay, we're voting on the motion to accept Patrick Wasso as our interim public utilities director. Let's do a vote. Let's do a roll call, Tony.
Stengline? Yes. Johnson?
Yep.
Chezak?
No,
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
No.
Terry? Yes. Bevins?
Yes, that motion passes. Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now the one everybody's here for tonight. Authorization of a donation to the Crowing Historical Society, maybe not, maybe I was wrong. The motion is to authorize a $500 donation to the Crow County Historical Society to be paid out of the special projects budget line item, and I so move.
We have a motion by Johnson, a second by Stunek. Any discussion? Chairman
This
Johnson.
is one of the few charitable donations that is allowed by state law, and you can see in the memo, we give about $500 a year, some years a little bit less, but it's what we've been doing traditionally, and we're going to continue to do it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Please proceed.
End of report.
Thank you very much. Item 7, unfinished business. Item 7A is a call for applicants. Mayor Bordeaux.
Well, you say that that was what people are here for, but really what they're here for is for the honorable mayor's recommendations. However, tonight, I just want to highlight one of these real fast. Park and Rec is looking for a board member, and we'd like to get that done as soon as possible. So I'm just going to call that one out super fast. If you live within the city limits of the city of Brainerd, and you have a passion for the parks,
Who doesn't?
and you like this guy right here, you like the cut of my jib, you like the look of my face as a liaison, come on, join us. I know, it's maybe a bad move. However, just going to call that one.
We don't have anybody applying.
I'm going to call that one out. You can probably talk about water skiing all the time. All right, Mayor, we have the following applications available for the following positions. Charter Commission, 2 terms expiring 2026, 2 terms expiring 2025. Park and Rec, 1 term expiring 2029. TAC, 3 terms expiring 2026. Also have 1 term on the EDA expiring 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as council president, I have 2 terms on the Parking Commission, 1 to expire in 2026 and 1 to expire in 2028. Yeah, Mr. Chesak.
I appreciate the effort you're putting into all this, but could we just say Transit Advisory Committee so people, they don't think it's, putting tax on the sidewalk?
Thank you, Mr. Chesak.
I know what it means, we all know what it means, but this is for the public, so, thank you.
Thank you. Next up is
There you go.
Mary Cope has been recommended for the Kitchigami Regional Library Board. I don't know if anybody wishes to speak on this.
I'd move to approve.
Second,
Approved by Johnson, second by, I'm sorry, who was it? Chesak?
Chesak.
Any further, any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Thank you, Mary. Next up is the final reading for proposed ordinance 1565 on administrative subdivisions. This is Mr. Kramvik.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is for administrative subdivisions only and is for the benefit of staff, developers, and the public. The purpose of this ordinance is as follows. First one is to create better definitions for boundary line adjustments and lot consolidations. allow for the adjustment or consolidation of 3 properties rather than 2, to reduce the administrative burden on developers and builders, also allow for the base lot subdivision of commercial buildings, and finally state a clear restriction on when the parcel can be administratively subdivided in the future. So with that, staff recommends a motion to conduct the final reading of proposed ordinance 1565 and to dispense with the actual reading. And then as a note, a vote to dispense with the actual reading must be unanimous. And then a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 1565, and I can answer any questions.
Any questions of staff regarding proposed ordinance 1565? Hearing none, we'll take care of the first part first, because that's the way we roll. And we're looking for a motion to conduct the final reading of proposed ordinance 1565 and to dispense with the actual reading.
So moved.
Motion by Stengline, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes unanimously. Next up is looking for a motion to adopt proposed ordinance 1565.
So moved.
Motion by Stengline,
Second.
second by Terry. Any discussion? Hearing none. Tony, you want to call the roll?
Stengline? Yes. Johnson?
Yep.
Chesak?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yep.
Stunek?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Bevins?
Yes, that resolution is adopted. Next up is item 8, new business. 8A is approval of a memorandum of understanding with the city of Baxter regarding a pre-treatment delegation. Jesse Dean, anything you'd like to add to what's in our packet?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. So attached to this item is a memorandum of understanding between the cities of Brainerd and Baxter in relation to the city's delegated pre-treatment program. The program is mainly aimed towards permit requirements of our industrial users in both communities. The MOU is intended to ensure that both cities have similar requirements for our industrial users to stay within the requirements for the city's NPDES permit. This also allows for remedial actions by Brainerd if Baxter fails to meet those requirements. Both city attorneys have reviewed the MOU. It's intended that the MOU will be discussed tomorrow evening in Baxter. Following passage by both cities, the PUC would discuss the MOU at their March 26th meeting. This is all to meet a deadline by the MPCA that the MOU be implemented before March 29th. So staff is recommending approval of the attached MOU with the city of Baxter in regard to the pretreatment delegation.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Chairman Johnson?
Yeah, it says no financial impact, but it just seems if we're putting together new standards and we'll be policing them in not one city but 2, like there might be a cost to this.
So the intention behind this is that Baxter is still going to be required to implement and manage the requirements of what we have for our industrial users. This really gives us the ability to address concerns if they fail to meet those standards.
Okay, so this doesn't change anything currently for our industrial users? It just extends our standards over to Baxter?
It just ensures that we're able to make sure that they're in compliance with our permit.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions of staff? Hearing none, we're looking for approval of the attached proposed memorandum of understanding with the city of Baxter in regard to pretreatment delegation.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Chesak is a second by Stengline. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is 8 new business B, a public hearing and looking to adopt a resolution for municipal consent and layout approval for the Trunk Highway 371 business Willow Street Roundabout project. I imagine Jesse Dean, anything you'd like to add?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. So this is a follow-up to our previous discussions with the council regarding a final layout approval for the proposed roundabout at South 6th Street and Willow Street. MnDOT has requested a formal municipal consent process, including a public hearing, which has been published for tonight's meeting. The attached memo summarizes the project, including the proposed layout and the current preliminary estimate. Please note that the city has received $750,000 towards construction costs through a safety improvement grant. So staff is available for questions on the project. We would recommend holding the public hearing on the final layout, followed by adoption of the resolution granting municipal consent and layout approval for the proposed roundabout project.
Thank you. Any questions of staff? Any questions of staff? Hearing none, it is 7:54, and I will open the public hearing for public comment on the final proposed layout for Trunk Highway 371 Business Willow Street Roundabout Project. And if you're here to speak, come on up, state your name and address, and tell us what you think about the roundabout project. If you're online, *3 notifies us that you wish to speak on this, and then we'll acknowledge you, and *6 will unmute you. It is 7:55, and I'll ask a second time if anybody in the audience or online wishes to speak to the proposed Trunk Highway 371 Business Willow Street Roundabout Project. And we'll ask for a final call on public comment on this project. And I will close the public hearing on the roundabout project. We are looking to adopt a resolution for municipal consent and layout approval for the Trunk Highway 371 Business Willow Street Roundabout Project.
Motion to approve adoption.
Motion by Chesak, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Stunek. Any comment on the motion? Any comment on the motion? Hearing none. Tony, please call the roll.
Stengline? Yes. Johnson?
Yep.
Chesak?
Yes.
O'Day?
Yes.
Stunek?
Yes.
Terry? Yes. Bevins?
Yes.
President Bevins?
Yes, Mr. Chesak, that let me call the resolution adopted, please. The resolution is adopted. Mr. Chesak.
Yes, I got a parliamentary question regarding the PNF agenda. When did we amend that to remove that item on the,
I certainly can't answer that, Mr. Chair.
is there any explanation on that?
I don't know what was removed.
The joint powers with Baxter on the environmental, shared environmental resources technician position.
We apologize, nobody on the council knows, Jeff. Let's see if staff, anybody in staff, HR Director Schubert?
So on Thursday morning, Jesse was out of town last week, and I asked him if he had received that signed document. He had not. It was already past the cutoff date, and we had thought that it was removed at that point. I'm sorry that it was not, but that was an error on staff's part to get that agenda out the way it should have been.
How did PNF know? Did you just share that with Gabe before the meeting, or?
I do know this, Jeff. We did discuss it,
Right.
the issue at the PNF meeting, but we didn't have a signed document, so we didn't take action because we didn't have anything in front of us. They were hoping they would have the signed document in the agenda, and we would be able to see that and discuss it tonight, and we did.
Appreciate the explanation. Okay.
Connie Hillman, you had anything to add? It came out? Okay, Jeff, you okay?
Fine, thank you.
Perfect. Next up is the public forum. It is 7:57. I will open the public forum. This is time allocated for the citizens to bring matters not on the agenda to the attention of the council. We like to have you keep it to about 3 to 5 minutes. Speak your name and address and come forth and let us know what's on your mind. Again, if you're online, *3 will let us notify us that you wish to speak, and then we'll acknowledge you, and *6 will unmute you. This is it. This is your time. If it's not on the agenda, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Please state your name and home address.
Kevin Query, 427 Cedar Street. I'm coming to the council today as a bicyclist in the city with 3 concerns. One, there's no bike rack here at the courthouse. I don't understand why that isn't.
Right by the elevator. I use it all the time.
On that side?
Right
Okay.
outside this door.
All right. Second, across the street from Eclipse Automotive is the entry to the bicycle path. There is no access there. It's hard curb, and it's very hard when you're entering the bike path at that junction on the bicyclists. Not that I'm disabled, but a disabled entry there would be something that should be considered. The third point for bicyclists, and I've written to all the members of the council, is the dirt in the streets. Mr. Dean responded to my letter inferring that this was maybe a seasonal problem. And this last week I noticed that the streets were cleaned up. But when I was writing again just today after last week's cleanup, On South Sixth Street, the dirt is starting to fill in along the curb. I had 2 accidents over the winter. One on the sidewalk along South Sixth Street because of loose gravel, ice, and salt. A second accident was in the roundabout below the high school because, again, all of the loose dirt gets in the corners of the roundabout, and going around, it's hard to control. I have suggested that the city look into investing in a small street sweeper. It's something, I think, as a tool that would be universally advisable for pathways, sidewalks, and the bike paths along the side of the streets. I think it's a very important tool to give our public works people to work with. I don't know the process, but as I listen to how long it's taken to get a bus for the city, I think that it's something that the council should start on right now, looking into what the cost is going to be, and that question of what the cost is going to be is going to get you into a bidding process probably to identify what that is. So I would urge the council to ask Public Works to put it out for a bid so that you can start to budget for the future for a small street sweeper that would be a versatile piece of equipment for our Public Works people to work with. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in the audience wish to bring something up that we are not discussing this evening? Anybody online, *3, and I'll ask a third and final time. If you'd like to let the council know your opinions on something, please come forth. And I will close the public forum at 8:01. We'll go to staff reports, item 10, and we'll start with Mr. Charpentier online, because I always skip him.
I have nothing to report this evening. Thank you.
Oh no, you better report something. All right. Thank you, Eric. Off to my right, Police Chief Davis.
Nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you. IT Director Strong.
Nothing tonight.
Finance Director Hillman.
Nothing to add.
And our City Engineer Public Works Director Dean.
Thank you, Mr. President. So our street maintenance staff was able to get a good dent in the street sweeping last week, mostly main routes and some of the parking lots. Parks maintenance started sweeping trails today, but likely we're going to have to pull back due to the cold temperatures for the next week or so. We'll resume as soon as the temps warm back up to allow for the sweeping to continue.
Thank you very much. Our Community Development Director, James Kramvik.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few items here. So at the next Planning Commission meeting this upcoming Wednesday, the Commission will be reviewing a CUP amendment for the My Neighbor to Love Coalition proposed boarding house, as well as a similar 12-plex apartment that was just approved. This is for the third and final lot that's on the south side. The Commission will also be reviewing language for a proposed cannabis dispensary ordinance. And lastly, just wanted to make council aware that staff continues to meet with the school district and developers regarding the 20-acre lot north of Buffalo Hills Park. I will be attending an upcoming long-range planning meeting regarding this property with the school district, so something that we continue to work on. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Kramvik. City Attorney Langle. HR Director Schubert. City Administrator Broyles.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just very briefly, Mayor Bordeaux was kind enough to ask me to join the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday. Had a great time. Did have family in town. They spoke very highly of the event. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that invitation, and hopefully I get asked to come back next year. But it was it was good fun. Thank you.
Thank you. And the Mayor, Dave Bordeaux.
Oh, we'll just follow up with that. St. Patrick's Day went great here in the city of Brainerd. Thank you to City Administrator.
Kept trying to jump out of the truck.
Who did?
That guy.
Oh, I know. Well, first of all,
That's our City Administrator, Kevin.
Everybody calm down. Let's not speak ill of him. However, he did want to sit inside the truck. And then he noticed that Mayor of Baxter was outside of the truck. This is a true story. The Mayor of Baxter was outside of the truck. And Nick felt it as a challenge, a personal challenge, that he must then also be outside the truck. So I want to thank our friends at Baxter for making this man get out of the truck and actually stand up. Thank you, Thank you, Baxter. No, I really mean it. And actually, I want to thank. No, I'm being serious. I actually really want to thank Daryl for coming, because Daryl is calm down now. I want to thank Daryl for coming as well, because Daryl comes every year to the St. Patrick's Day Parade, and he's a trooper about it because it is a cold event every single year. So I really want to thank Daryl for coming. And honestly, thank you, Daryl, because you got Nick to get out of the truck. I also want to thank James and Jesse Dean for being there as well, stepping up and representing the city. I think it's good for us to show the face of our employees. We've had Connie there before. Connie, we're going to get you back. Chris, I know you're leaving, but we can always have you come back as a special guest. And Joe, I'm not going to invite you because you're a lawyer and you'll probably shut us down. So, cancel that. But also, I just want to thank police and fire. A great job as always. Anytime you get that many kids downtown, it's exciting, but you got to be careful too. So thank you to them, and also to the streets department, because fantastic work. I can't say enough about those guys. They always make it very easy for us to get those streets closed down, everything we need. And it's just it's a great event that happened. So that happened. People wore green. It was great. Easter coming up. We got 2 events. I see a gentleman sitting right here in our audience. I'm going to point him out. He's right there. He's a good-looking guy. Oh, he's got a loud coat on, though. It's very loud. I hear you up here. Easter egg hunts. There are 2 of them that happen in Brainerd. We've got Gregory Park at 9:15, and then at the MP Event Center at 11 o'clock as well. I want to call both those out because those are fantastic events. We try to make it to both of those. My kids love them both. So make sure you head that down. And then for the adults of the group, April 6th, downtown golf. I don't know if you've ever done. You go around all the different watering holes and you putt yourself a little putt-putt at each of the establishments. Really fun time. I highly recommend. If you have not involved yourself in downtown golf, get involved. And shout out to the American Legion for that as well. I think they helped put that on. So that's what's coming up here in the city here, real quick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll move on to council committee reports. We'll start with ladies first. Kara Terry.
Nothing to report.
Tiffany Stegline.
Well, I want to thank our city administrator, Nick Broyles. He came with me to the landlord group meeting, which it was a bit of an adventure. We turned it around. Instead of having Nick present, we asked them what he should know about Brainerd, and that filled the hour.
Thank you. Chief Stunek.
I have nothing.
Thank you. Mr. Chesak.
Yes, Mr. Mayor Bedeau hinted at it. We have a big weekend coming up on the 29th, 30th, 31st, which is Easter. And I just like everybody remember what happened and why we celebrate that. Jesus was sent to earth. He died for our sins, and that's why we praise him. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. I like the sweeper idea. I think we could store one at Memorial Park, one at Bain Park, and then years when we can flood the hockey rinks, we got a broom right there to clear off the hockey rinks for the kids. It works all seasons. It works all seasons. And then the mayor didn't mention it, but part of the St. Patrick's Day Parade for 24 years now is a medallion hunt where a downtown business owner, Shep, hides a medallion and they release clues. And it happened to be spring break last year for the kids in town. So my kids and I went out almost every single day last week as the new clue dropped, and it was just a lot of fun. And there were a lot of citizens out looking for it, a lot of firefighters, a lot of administrative staff from City Hall. But on the day the final clue dropped, there was probably hundreds of people within 100 yards of where the medallion was until somebody found it and didn't let any of us know, so we all kept looking. But it was a great time. The clues were perfect. It just leaked a little bit every day, and good job on that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. O'Day?
They already said everything that
All
I
right.
was going to say.
Thank you. And the only thing I have to add is I talk to Mr. Kramvik often about citizen complaints. We just had nuisance reports this evening, and we don't have anybody in the city driving around looking for something for you to do. Pick up your own junk, park your trailers where they belong, put your dumpsters back in the garage, and then your neighbors won't have to call in on you and feel bad. But if you do see something, we do. Almost all of our nuisance complaints, if I'm not mistaken, James, are citizen-driven. So, and some people feel bad, but you're not the only ones who call in. So it helps us and it helps keep the neighborhoods looking better if you do call in. If you see something untowards, call in. We want you to. We need you to, or nothing will get done. Next up, item 13 is a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Cut it out.
Second.
Second by O'Day, motion by Stunek. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 I had a
Opposed,
really
same sign?
slow year measuring snow,